holding company. They got rich enough off us and off of people's backs, he says. Rescue jobs, not multi-headed dog. That's interesting. People are not wanting this. Joining us now is Jordan Goodman. He's moneyanswers.com blog is very well read. You're hearing now what Neal Boortz says and what some of the folks out there are saying as well. What is your take on this possibility that we need to salvage these guys or rescue them in any way?
I think Neal is totally out of touch with what the public is looking for and totally being cruel to Americans who've been working very hard. We need to bail out the auto industry. It's much better than not bailing out. And just the example you want to see is what happened with Lehman Brothers. We made a massive mistake by not bailing out Lehman Brothers. It's costing us huge amounts of money more than had we bailed them out. And it's the same with GM. If we let them go under in his kind of libertarian, laissez-faire, let the market take care of itself, let the auto industry be taken over by the foreigners, this is going to cost us much, much more, cost Americans a lot of pain, not only directly with the automakers, but all their suppliers.
We've got news. I'm going to let you respond to him. And while you do that, let me get my laptop up here, because I'm being told now that we've got news crossing the wires on Nancy Pelosi and a possible story about what we're talking about now. You go ahead and answer.
Well, I did not say don't bail them out. I did say, look, if you're going to bail them out, void these union contracts. These union contracts are totally absurd. And the benefits that they pay people that aren't even working anymore, salaries they pay people that aren't working. If the American people are going to bail out these automakers, okay, for the mistakes that they made, then the American people deserve something in return. And the very least we should get out of this is to void these union contracts, tell these automakers and these unions, go back, get real, negotiate a deal that's going to help these businesses stay alive. If we bail them out, we'll be back doing it next year, the year after, if we don't do something about those union contracts.
Jordan, to you.
I do agree that we should be tough with the automakers and put a lot of restrictions on them. I think probably GM and Chrysler should be forced to merge, and there would be a lot of layoffs, and a lot of labor people would be losing their jobs. But I think avoiding contracts like that is not going to go over well with the UAW.
Who cares?
And it's going to make it very hard, because these are the people that are doing the work for them. They do have contracts, and just going out and voiding contracts is not a particularly good way to handle workers who you need their cooperation.
Well, these people are bankrupt. You void contracts all the time in bankruptcy. They're bankrupt. And you give them a fresh start. A fresh start means a fresh start, not saddled down with these irresponsible, onerous union contracts.
The other thing you're forgetting, Neal, is that if this happens, if they go bankrupt, it's going to cost the government a lot. For example, the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation is going to have a huge amount of pension benefits thrown onto it, which will basically make it go bankrupt because of the huge amount of pension liabilities. These liabilities don't just disappear. They're going to shift from GM to you, the taxpayer, through the PBGC.
Some of them will, and of course the whole idea of the federal government guaranteeing pensions, tell me where that shows up in the U.S. Constitution.
Well, it's a law passed by Congress. It has to be repealed.
Well,
otherwise
again, laws
the
passed
obligation
by Congress are supposed to be somewhat in touch with our Constitution, and nowhere does it say Congress or the taxpayers guarantee private pension plans.
It's the PBGC law. That's the way it works. It wasn't in the Constitution. There's lots of laws that have been passed since the Constitution, and that's one of them.
And
FDIC, you could say that everything FDR did was illegal as well. You could say the income tax was illegal.
Let me jump in here, gentlemen. Chris, go ahead. Tell me in my ear, because I'm not able to get the report because we put the laptop down here. Tell me in my ear what it is that Nancy Pelosi is this deal she's trying to strike. What is it? She's going to seek legislation to provide relief to the auto industry.
I like the word sneak better.
Well, it's clearly going to happen. I mean, you've got
likely
very powerful people.
Well, likely to convene in the next few days. There's the news item. I mean, we knew that they were going to be doing it, but now it looks like they're going to be doing it before Barack Obama takes office. How significant is that?
Remember, you've got the $700 billion bailout bill, which was supposed to be for toxic mortgages.
Right.
But now they're using it for all kinds of other things. And the congressmen from Michigan, like Levin and so on, are going to say that money should be used partly for helping out the automakers. Neal, if your kind of laissez-faire system goes into effect, GM won't be around by the end of this year. They need the money now. We can't wait till Barack Obama on January 20th. They need the money now in order to survive.
Why? I mean, so what if they're not here by the end of the year? The government doesn't pick winners and losers. The marketplace picks winners and losers. The marketplace has picked GM as a loser. Why? Well, because their cars didn't appeal to the marketplace and they were too expensive. They didn't keep up with technology. They didn't keep up with the times. So the government doesn't step in and say, you know, the marketplace said you did a bad job here, but we, the mighty titans of government, we're going to pick you as a winner
But
anyway.
Neil, what do you say to this young lady here who just sent us this email right now? She says, look, I am a fourth-generation Ford employee spouse. My grandfather, father, husband, and son have worked their entire lives for Ford. Is it my family's fault that the big three mismanaged their finances? No, it's not.
No, okay, now here comes, this is a harsh reality. It's not your family's fault that these companies mismanage their finances, but it is your family's fault that they didn't see what was happening, what was coming down the pike a long time ago and say, you know what? A couple of generations of this nonsense is enough. Maybe we'd better go to work in an industry that is better managed and where we might have better job security.
Jordan, to you. Finish us out.
Well, these industry workers have been working very hard, and they didn't do anything wrong, and the management did do some things wrong.
I'm sorry, they did do something wrong.
I'm saying the workers didn't do anything wrong.
They did. They didn't pay attention. You pay attention to the health of your employer.
If you're living in Flint, Michigan or someplace, and that's where the jobs are, that's where you're going to take a job.
They don't
You know,
sell
be
luggage
real,
in Flint, Michigan?
You're saying the union organizers and the union deal makers overreached and cost their company big bucks?
I'm saying, you know, don't you pay some attention to the health of CNN?
Of course I do.
I pay attention to the health of the company that I work for. And if I see them going down the tubes, guess what? I'm going to say, well, maybe I ought to make an escape plan here.
So
they pay no attention.
Well, but is there a fault on the part of the union people who didn't do this? That's the assertion he's making. Is he right?
The unions did have very generous contracts. There's no question about it. I think paying people for not working is not very smart, you know, to do it. I agree the unions milked it for much more than they should have. But lately, they've had massive concessions to try to help GM and Ford and Chrysler stay up. It's not enough for the level of sales. GM sales were down 45% last month. So no matter how many concessions they made, it wouldn't be enough for that.
But you remain with your original point that you think, Jordan, that the deal should be done, and that Barack Obama is right, as long as he says he gets some of these agreements from them that they're going to start putting that money into building cars, not like they've been building in the last 10 years.
That's correct. They should be a tough negotiation. I agree. But the U.S. taxpayer is going to save money by saving GM, Ford, and Chrysler much more than if they let them go under and have literally millions of jobs with directly and all the suppliers be lost and devastate places like Ohio, Michigan, and so on.
Let me share with you the rest of the information. I finally got my hands on this. It's written in very small print. You probably couldn't read this.
Yeah.
Pelosi is not expected to specify how large a bailout she wants. The aides who described her views Tuesday did so on condition of anonymity, saying they were not authorized to discuss it publicly. This is coming from the Associated Press. The speaker's decision comes a few days after General Motors warned that it's rapidly running out of cash, and Ford announced its situation was only slightly better. They say that their stocks are down to the 1940s levels, interesting enough. All right, we're coming back in just a little bit. One of the things that we're going to be talking about is General Petraeus sounding Obama-ish when he says or suggests that we need to reconcile, if not talk, to our enemies. General Wesley Clark is going to be joining us to discuss that.